All right, this is a special episode of Pickleball Therapy, the podcast dedicated to your pickleball improvement. This is a special treat for you and a special treat for me. I'm here in St. Louis at Major League Pickleball, and I'm going to introduce the gentleman sitting next to me in 1 second. But this gentleman actually is very instrumental in the beginning of my own journey as a more aware mental athlete, right, in the mental part of the game. I got exposed to Coach Pete's book kind of early on in my process here, right? I played tennis for a long time, didn't know anything about this kind of stuff. Read Coach Pete's book. It revolutionized the way I think about it, really opened me up to new ways of thinking. I have the podcast, putting out a book, all thanks to Coach Pete. And so, Coach Pete, it's such a pleasure to have you as part of the Pickleball Therapy history and in this podcast in particular.
Yeah, great to be here again. I always enjoy it when we get together, Tony. So yeah, thanks for having me.
So I'm glad Coach Pete got something out of it as well. So and just a full introduction, Coach Peter Scales is a psychologist. He's also a coach, tennis coach mostly, and then also pickleball now, doing some pickleball stuff. But his development of the framework of Compete, Learn, Honor is just a really interesting way of approaching it. And Coach, what we're talking about doing is maybe chatting about some concepts. We're here at Major League Pickleball again, so we're watching some pro action live. We see the ups and downs, and we were talking about some observations you had yesterday. Why don't you tee us up, and we'll just go from there.
Sure, yeah. This is great to be at an MLP event here in St. Louis. And yesterday, there were a few things that I saw that, a couple of them will be obvious to people. One of them may be a little surprising to think of as part of the mental game. First one was when we have premier level and we have challenger level teams. I'm just looking at a challenger level match, right? Las Vegas, they're the favorites. They're supposed to win the challenger division and move up to premier next year. They lost the first 2 games. They're in a hole to DC. They had to come back. They had to win 2 more games. Then they had to win a dream breaker. Okay, the only way you can do that is to have the mindset of 1 point at a time. You can't rush it. You have to have patience. That's mental. You have to be just absolutely solid that, hey, this isn't over yet. They haven't won a 3rd game. So, most of us don't have to play best 3 out of 5. But if you're down 7-0, 8-0, 9-0, it still isn't over. It still isn't over. So as long as you think about 1 point at a time, you can make a comeback. So that's all a mental process.
Yeah, it's interesting, Coach, how and I had a similar observation yesterday in it was Brooklyn against Chicago Slice, and I think it was Chicago Slice serving 9-10, down 9-10, and the observation I made in the little short I made was there's no 3-point shot, so going 9-12 doesn't make any sense, right? So it's basically right now let's go 9-10 if you can, right? And then from there, then you can worry about 10-11 and then 11-12. But the one step at a time, or one moment, or being in the moment, right? Just focusing on the next rally, what you can control.
Well, and the other part of that, Tony, is this isn't the time for fancy stuff. Fundamentals, just your basics. Get past the first 4 shots. Get into the point. Don't make a mistake on the return of serve. Get the serve in deep. Play your basic fundamentals and just be solid. And
let's talk about that a second, Coach, because I've been talking to players about, players want to focus when they're playing. I understand. I fully understand that. And I'm going to tee it up and then you run with it. But from my perspective, it's impossible to have full focus all the time. You basically you've kind of raised the bar, however you want to think about it. You just run out of energy, however you want to look at it. But you can't do that. And so going to what you're saying now, because one of my conversations was, again, I'm not saying don't be focused, but don't kind of kill yourself with focus until this stage. In other words, the 9-10, I need this one. I really need this one. This is legitimate. It's not, we're not at 2-1. Again, you don't throw points away, but I'm not at 2-1. I don't have to hunker down at 2-1. I need to hunker down at 9-10 or 10-9 or, those critical moments in games that make the difference between the outcome and the outcomes.
Well, and you can look at it that way. Another way to look at it is that there's 2 games going on. There's the game when the ball's actually in play, and then there's the game between points, right? And so you can not lose focus, but have a different focus in your between point routine. And that was kind of the second thing I observed yesterday. And you can see it with a lot of players, but I happen to be watching Anna Bright and their women's doubles match, and going back to the wall and tapping with the paddle, whether she won or lost, whether that team won or lost the point, and the relentless positivity with her partner in between points. Relentless positivity. It's a different focus. So you can actually relax the playing level focus, but you have to have the focus on the recovery, positive or at least neutral reaction to the point just played. What are we going to do on the next point? Okay, we're back in it, let's go. And all within, 10 seconds or so.
Right.
So it's, the focus, I agree with you. You can't possibly maintain 100% focus 100% of the time. So you've got to be clear about, for you and singles and for you and your partner in doubles, when does it make the most strategic and practical sense, given your biomechanics, your psychology, to let go just a little bit?
Let's keep on that for a second. I think that's really interesting. The idea of basically switching focuses, like almost like a light switch, right? Where I go like from play focus, like on the ball, to another sort of focus on my breathing or some other type of thing, tapping the paddle,
muscle relaxation.
Now that kind of a thing, I think this is where players, if you tell a player today, right, we're going to go work on your third shot drop for the next hour drilling, they're like, yeah, they get that. They're like, yeah, let's go do that. But then when you say, it's really helpful if you learn how to switch your focus from play focus to non-play focus. Let's go work on that for 20 minutes. What are you talking about? I'll just do it. And so let's talk about that a little bit, how you build that muscle, right? The same way you would with a volley, a third shot drop, or any other physical part of the game.
Exactly. Well, it's rehearsal. You don't do it without rehearsal. And that's why practice is so important, because in practice you do it intentionally and consciously, so that when you're actually playing, it's all happening automatic. You're not thinking about it, you're feeling it. And that includes the between the points. So I think the between the points routine is just one of the absolute most important things that we can do, particularly at the recreational level, because you're not playing as often and at a higher level as these people are, right? You're not trained. So any little bit of training that you can do for yourself is going to really help you enjoy the game more and your partner and play better. Whether you win or lose, you're going to have more fun at it. Yeah,
I love that. And I'm gonna make a suggestion to the listeners, and then you can add anything that if I mess something up, fix it. If you need to add something, add to it. But I'm gonna challenge the listeners right now. If you're listening to this episode of the podcast, and you're interested in this idea, why don't you take just one game in the next week? Not a session. I want to be clear. One game to 11, and say, in this game to 11, I am going to work on what Coach Pete just described. I'm going to work on a technique, and it can be anything you want to do. Coach mentioned tapping the paddle on the back of the fence. That works great. You can tap your hand on your paddle. Some players use like a rubber band on their wrist or something just to kind of reset. You can do the Leah Jansen, where you tap your thighs and your shoulders. No judging here, seriously. Do whatever works for you, as Coach Pete said. But again, try it one game and then see how that works, and then you'll have to do it again and again, but just do one game in the next week. That'd be my suggestion.
Absolutely. And I'll add one thing to that, Tony. No matter what the point was, whether you played a great point or a bad point, you say, okay. That doesn't mean I like what happened. It means I accept its history. We cannot change that. All we can change now is how we're going to approach the next point. So, okay, that really helps create a distance between the point just played and the business at hand, which is getting ready for the next point.
Right, agreed. And unless you have a time machine, can't do nothing about it anyway. So
try and say okay in your next match.
There you go. That's another layer you can put on it, right?
Exactly.
So you can say okay, tap the paddle, things like that. Exactly. Coach, I do want to. So this actually is something that I don't know where Coach stands on this. So I'm really curious. We're gonna go live and touch the third rail, maybe. I don't know. We'll see, because I think it's worth the conversation. And what reminded me of it was you mentioned Anna Bright and Kay Fahey, who play for the Dallas Flash. They are two of the most
St. Louis.
I'm sorry,
Anna
St. Louis,
Brighton,
not Dallas.
Cambridge,
Dallas is Georgia and Tara.
We're in
My
St.
bad.
Louis,
We're in
Tony.
St.
I
Louis.
got
We're
to
in St.
defend
Louis.
my home turf.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So, and it's kind of a funny thing because, like, I'll do these shorts for Major League Pickleball. I am terrible with names. I keep on calling Tyra Black Tyra Banks, and I did it yesterday talking to somebody, and I'm just, but anyway, but I just have to accept who I am, and I'm fine with it. So yes, from St. Louis and St. Louis Shock, and but they're two of the most outwardly passionate players, right?
Yeah.
They leave the emotions out there. Another player that has a lot of that, that's doing that a lot right now is Federico Saxrud, and I'll give you my read, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. So. My read on it, or my sense of it is that sometimes there's there's a red line, like a car, RPMs, right? And so there's a red line area, and what I see these players doing sometimes, and I really focus on Federico doing it because I've seen it impact his play, is he will let out this huge roar, face to the sky, arms to the air, just like a lot of release. And then he'll miss the return to serve, right? Then very next rally. And so maybe talk to us a little bit about that, and however you want to approach it, right? The idea of like redlining maybe, or going too far in the, we're going to go direction. So what are your thoughts there?
It's complicated, and we're all different. And there are people who get motivated, and it actually has a positive, for them for a while. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it from a sportspersonship standpoint. Pickleball is a small court, and you're right in the face, pretty close to people, and so it seems gamey to me. I can see a come on, that's fine, but I love the quote, the legendary basketball coach Dean Smith from the University of North Carolina. His line was, "A lion never roars after the kill."
All right, that's money right there. That's it. That's worth the episode. We're gonna keep talking, but that's worth the episode right there.
All right. Yeah. So, pump yourself up, pump your partner up, sure, but you don't need to be in the face, especially when you're playing social or recreational. You're not playing pro for money, So
I would agree with that. And Coach, you just reminded me of something that I think it's worth talking about, even though I'm pivoting to sport, but I think the concept is so sound, and it embodies, I believe, a big part of your philosophy about the sport that you developed, the compete, learn, honor. I don't know if you call it a trilogy. I'd like to think about trifecta, but the three principles, right? And so I'm pretty sure that listeners will be familiar with these two names. So we just finished watching two great tennis finals, right? Yeah. With Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. I don't want to spend time on the negative, like the Sabalenka story. That's already kind of water under the bridge. But when you look at Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, what I see are two athletes at the top of their games who are enjoying the relationship that they're building with each other.
Yes.
They're wholly respectful of each other. Yeah. If you win this time, I love you. I love the fact that you won, and also, I'm gonna let you go in a second, but I also love the fact that they're like that he's pushing me. Yeah. Because he beat me, now I got to do something. And then the other one saying, "Oh, you beat me, I'm going to do something." Yeah. Talk about that a little bit. This idea of like the respect and everything that is.
Oh, exactly. It's funny. I saved Carlos's comments to use with my tennis team coming up, girls' season coming up, because he actually said he was grateful for the loss. He lost Wimbledon, and he said he was grateful to Sinner for delivering the loss, because what you just said, it forces Carlos to look at his game, get better. And to me, that's rooted in, they both love the game. They love the game more than how they're doing at it. So I love that, Tony.
Yeah, and the other thing, Coach, that's interesting to me, because I've been playing with this idea, you and I have talked about it, but this idea of like, all we can do as athletes, I don't know why they're screaming back there, but there's apologies for the background noise, but that's just
real good.
That's just the nature of where we're at right now.
Very live.
But this idea that all you can do as a player, right, as an athlete, is to try your best to play your best, or do your best to play your best. And so, really, what we're each trying to do is become the best versions of ourselves as pickleball players.
Yeah.
And so what you're seeing in the sport of tennis, again, and it'll tie, which is this. You have two players on the men's side who are pushing the sport to levels that has never seen before. Because when you listen to the announcers, you listen to interviews with Nadal, people like, they're saying they're playing tennis at a level that has never been seen before. And that's in part because each one is forcing the other one to continue to add to the game. So they now get to play tennis in a way that no one has seen before. And so I would suggest you, for your own personal journey, these players behind us, these pro players, they understand the same thing. They're going to get, Ben Johns gets beat. When he gets beat, he goes back to the drawing board. Annalie Waters hates losing. But when she loses, you know what? Now she gets hungrier and keeps fighting because now she understands that there's a chance she's going to lose.
That's right.
Right? And that makes you the best version of yourself. So it's just something to embrace.
And it's helpful because, there's some people listening here who are quite advanced, amateur players. Yep. You're playing at 4.5, 5.0 level. You're not earning pro money, but you're at a pretty high level. None of us is a master.
Right.
I don't like that word. I like to say, no one ever masters these games, pickleball and tennis. No shot is ever exactly the same as another. They're never the same. It's always different. It's all jazz. So it's always creativity and improvisation as you learn more and more. And as you learn more and more, there's more to learn.
Right.
You understand that, and it should make you even more and more humble the better you get. And that's where you can really appreciate again, maybe the beauty of the sport that you had when you originally got into it. And maybe you lost it a little because you started pursuing, gold medals and stuff, which is fine to a point. But then rediscover, recapture the original reason you fell in love with the sport, which is to play it and to play it at the highest level you can. And for that, you've got to have opponents who are going to push you to go beyond where you are right now. And so together, you create something great. I can't create a great match with you if I'm whomping you 11-0. That's not a great match.
Yeah, there's nothing to celebrate there. And one thing I would play on it, I really like the way you framed it. There's nothing wrong with the pursuit of the gold medal. But to me, it's the pursuit is the operative word there, right? The gold medal is a trinket. Yeah. It's the pursuit of it that's really the beauty, right?
Yeah.
Again, if the pursuit isn't meaningful, doesn't have substance to it, then the medal is irrelevant.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Coach, here's the thing. So we're here at MLP. Coach is here with his lovely wife, good pickleball coach in the St. Louis area, Martha Robert. Find her. She's amazing. I'll put a link down in the show notes if you're in this area. Coach, I'm going to give a quick plug here and then any last words you have. So if you want to learn more about Coach Pete's philosophy, his way of thinking about the sport, and it really will help you go deeper in your understanding, pick up the book. I'm not going to say it now. It's Compete, Learn, Honor is the main. I know the name of it, but it's Compete, Learn, Honor is the real principle. It's going to be in the show notes. The book is written in short chapters, and Coach and I have talked about this before. He did that intentionally so you can get through a chapter at a time and just kind of really digest it and not get bogged down. And Coach has also prepared a playbook that's specific to pickleball. Both of those will be in the show notes, and I highly recommend them to you as resources for you. Coach, any last words for our players out there? Anybody listening that wants to continue to just understand their growth as players or human beings, however you want to approach it?
Yeah, just whether it's pickleball or tennis or any other sport, just kind of building on what we were just talking about. The most important thing for everybody to remember is you are not a better person if you win, and you are not a worse person if you lose. Winning and losing says nothing about yourself as a compassionate person, how generous you are, how friendly, your sense of humor, how loyal, what a provider you are for your family and your community. It says nothing about your character, right? Winning and losing is a byproduct of playing the sport you love. Focus on that you love playing the sport. Everything else will fall into place.
I love that. Words of wisdom. We have the line, and we have your character is not impugned because of results of a pickleball match. Coach, it's always great to see you. Appreciate your time sharing with us, and we will see you all on the next episode of Pickleball Therapy. Be well.